everything. There is no middle ground when it comes to artificial intelligence. There are a lot of players in this story. Open source, China, NVIDIA, the closed source US frontier labs. This is a big problem and we need to talk about it. We are betting the house on AI working out for the United States. 40% of the stock market is just 7 tech companies very tied to how AI does. And it all starts with open source. US open source AI is almost certainly doomed. And that is because there is effectively no business model that makes it work in the United States. And that's really bad because there are one of two outcomes. Either the closed source labs control everything, or China, because they are so good at open source, wins all of it. And I don't think the American public will like either of those scenarios. I made this video because I think this topic really matters. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so we can reach more people and more people understand how severe this can get. All right, so first, what is open source? Open source artificial intelligence means the lab that made the AI also revealed its recipe and anybody can recreate it. And they also typically give away the weights of the model. So you can download it, you can fine tune it, you can make it your own. Llama, Qwen, Gemma, Deepseek, these are all open source models. And why is open source important? Well, whenever you open source something, everybody can look at it. That makes the model more hardened from a security perspective. It makes it more efficient because everybody can figure out little techniques to make the model run better, faster, cheaper, and that is a good thing. But there is a big problem. The business model for open source AI in the United States is broken. And the reason that China seems to be eating our lunch on the open source AI front is not because we don't have the tech. It's not because we don't have the talent. It's because the funding isn't there. The monetization is not there. So imagine this. You're an AI lab. You spend months building out the recipe for a of use cases are just working with spreadsheets, coding, and making a schedule. These do not require frontier level intelligence. And so if the Deepseek model is just as good at everything else, 99.9% of problems out there, but it's a fraction of the cost, what do you think they're going to choose? And by the way, if you want to see the difference between open source and closed source, you can check them both out in the sponsor of today's video. Zapier released, but that is certainly not their focus. Then we have Anthropic, who they have no open source strategy, zero. They are like, nope, we're not even going to think about that. Straight shot to AGI. And I'll come back to that in a moment. We have Google, who actually they have a really good built on top of Chinese models. They have a lot of influence over the direction of the chip industry because they're building their models. If they decide, hey, we're going to optimize our model for our own chips and we're going to make our chips like this, and now all of a sudden we have to buy our AI chips from China, obviously you can see that is a big geopolitical risk. Then there's also this notion that they might be able to control cultural elements in the United States. Now, yes, when an open source open weights model gets released, we can remove Chinese censorship, we can give it our own personality, but AI is still very much a black box.
GitHub is in a very dire, a very bad situation. There are many, many problems, many of them related to AI, but maybe not for the reasons you think, but I'll get back to that. And of course, that matters. That matters because GitHub is the backbone of modern development work. No matter if you're doing open source development, if you're maintaining some open source projects, if you're working just on your own projects, your personal projects, your side project, things, there are many, many problems. And let's start with what's wrong, but we take a look at the why and what that means for the future. And let's start with a big one. There was a big, a huge, an unbelievable security vulnerability reported yesterday when I'm recording this. A remote code execution on github.com. I mean, reading that is just insane. It was discovered by Wiz, a security company, and it was not exploited. So it was discovered, it was reported, it was fixed. No damage was done. According to GitHub, they also published an answer to this report. Now, I won't go into the details of how that vulnerability worked. I'll link the article below, though. But in the end, it all worked through git push. So no phishing involved, no account takeover of some employee, no supply chain attack. We've seen plenty of that stuff over the last weeks, but no, nothing like that was involved. Instead, it was just git push. And then specifically, the standard push option feature that you can add to the git push command to attach extra options to that push command. And through that options feature and the vulnerability and the way GitHub handled pushes, the security researchers here were able to attach code that would execute just like that on the GitHub servers. Now, again, the exact details are in this report, but in the end, they abused the fact that you could add extra metadata to an xstat header that would be populated with help of that push options flag. And that metadata, that information that you could pass along with the push request through that header in the end was not sanitized by GitHub. They just authenticated the push request in the end, the push command. They checked if you are allowed to push to the repository you tried to push to, but then they took that options data and built that xstat header without sanitizing that data.
OpenAI has truly made a massive comeback with the launch of GPT 5.5, a faster and more capable flagship model that's built for complex workflows like coding, research, and data analysis. And honestly, in several areas, it genuinely feels stronger than the current Claude models. Right now, I personally believe that OpenAI may have pulled ahead in the AI race, especially because Anthropic has been self-sabotaging its own community with aggressive rate limits and reduced model performance. Many users have confirmed and noticed the quality shift after Anthropic reportedly lowered the reasoning effort on their models from high to medium, which noticeably impacted output quality and reliability. Combined with the new restrictions, it honestly made using Claude Code frustrating, despite it being such an incredible product overall. For example, just take a look at my own experience. I'm literally paying for Anthropic's Pro plan, and with Opus 4.7 inside Claude Code, I can run through basically my entire daily quota with essentially one serious coding prompt. That's not just usable. It's something that will be very difficult to justify spending $20 a month for what feels like an extremely rate-limited usage. This is where I had just simply requested to create a macOS clone, and you can see I hit my usage within a couple seconds. Just compare the value proposition. OpenAI's $20 plus plan gives you dramatically more usable coding time rather than Anthropic's Pro plan, because GPT 5.5 is far more token efficient, meaning you get way more token output before hitting limits. And in practice, it is 3 to 5 times more real coding usage for the same price. Claude may still win in certain niche code quality scenarios, but the GPT 5.5 combined with Codex is simply the better overall developer workflow right now. That's exactly why I'm here today to tell you OpenAI is back in the lead with GPT 5.5, especially when you combine it with Codex, which I honestly think is one of the most underrated AI coding tools available right now. In my opinion, this is currently the best AI coding workflow in the market because you get both strong model quality and dramatically better usable volume while using this perfect harness at the moment, which is practically usable for almost every use case, whether that is data analysis, code generation, or debugging, whatever it may be, you can use it and do everything within Codex. For example, I built a Terraria-style game using GPT 5.5 and Codex, and it even leveraged GPT Image 2 directly within Codex to generate the visual game assets. This is honestly insane because it was able to not even use up 25% of my quota for the day, and the fact that it's able to output such quality like this is just incredible. And for those who do not know what OpenAI's Codex is, it's an AI coding agent like Claude Code that can autonomously write, edit, debug, and execute code across your entire software project. It can even help you control your computer. It can even control and automate browser tasks. It's practically Claude Code, but ran with OpenAI models. Codex can essentially help you work around any type of work, from organizing, Python scripts, or whatever you are looking to automate. This is a perfect tool. Join my free newsletter with a link in the description below, which is completely free. After installing issues and events, building macOS apps, there's so many different plugins that will essentially help you automate and build off of whatever you're doing with Codex. And using those plugins, you can practically build almost anything. Like, for example, I built a CSGO clone in 3GS, and this is where you even have a live web preview of whatever you have built, whether that is opening up web development projects, front ends, or you can even visualize whatever you had built, whether that is slide decks, data analysis, or even different documents. So this is just incredible because I had actually built out a full-on CSGO clone, and the fact that I'm able to move around, I'm able to even shoot. It is not going to work directly within this web browser, but if I'm to open it up within another browser, you can see right now that I'm able to shoot and I'm able to actually secure the flag as well, which is incredible. And what I really like about Codex is you can practically visualize almost anything, whether that is diffs, text files, MDs, whatever it may be. You can easily review it directly, and you can even edit the code as well. What's also nice is you can even open up the terminal. So this is a great way for you to manage multiple sessions, multiple terminals directly in one interface. And what I would recommend is within the channel you see on the left-hand side, you can actually create multiple projects, and this is going to keep everything well. Now, you even have automations that you can set up where you can have it so that it is able to schedule these different events within the Codex app. For example, I clicked on new automation. I told it find me new AI news and send me a brief every day with a summary plus insights. Now you can select the project. You can then set a time as well as a work tree, and then you can click on create. And just like that, it was able to then give me a summary of a daily AI news brief of different topics with different sources. This is a super simple automation, but it works every single day. But in the same manner, you can essentially work with it to set up automations for code quality where you can scan recent commits and it's able to analyze any bugs, propose minimal fixes as well, or you can even have it automatically fix various sorts of critical issues. Now, within the main dashboard of Codex, something important I want to mention is that you can change permissions where you can have it so that it has the default permissions where Codex automatically runs commands in the sandbox only, or you can also have it on auto review where it runs commands in a sandbox and uses auto review for elevated requests where it will use your own personal guidance to essentially execute that task, or you can have it so that it does everything autonomously, like a YOLO mode where it doesn't even require your user permissions and just does everything within that project. This is why I personally believe you should create a project and shouldn't have it run across every single file you have on your computer. You can attach files as well as have it so that you can plan. This is quite important because you can create an implementation plan first and then have GPT basically create that detailed spec-driven workflow so that you can then use one of these different models to essentially code out whatever you had planned. Now, you have different intelligence levels or reasoning efforts. I personally leave it at medium because it is sufficient in my case, but you can set it to extra high, test it out to see what works best. You can even change the speed as well. You can change it from standard to fast, and if you have it set to fast, it is about 1.5 times faster with increased planned usage. But let's say if you want to use a plugin like browser use, you can essentially use the at command and select the browser use plugin or whatever plugin you want to use, and then you can type in your prompt like open up YouTube and find the World of AI YouTube channel. You can then go ahead and send in this request, and this will actually open up browser use directly within the Codex app and execute that browser automation or that browser task. In the same manner, you can do this with computer use tasks, but not using the browser use plugin, obviously. You can use and run computer-based tasks directly within the Codex app. Honestly, browser use inside Codex can help you do almost anything, and it closes the build and verify loop for local deployment. You can ask Codex to build out your front end, test it like a real user by clicking through the app, inspect what users see with vision, and check console network logs to debug the issue. This overall brings a closer, fully autonomous coding agent that can deliver high-quality results with tested changes. What's nice is that you can even have Codex actually work upon creating spreadsheets and even PowerPoints, which I'll showcase in a second. This is where I created a comprehensive comparison of new models that are supposed to be dropping this year. And you can see that it's able to execute all of these different components like building out spreadsheets, tables, benchmarks as well, which is incredible, the risk readout as well as laying out all the sources. And the fact that it's able to do this is just incredible. And like I said, you can even create spreadsheets. This is where it has created a 12-slide modern research briefing covering whatever the findings that it had composed with those 2 Excel sheets. And that is just incredible. This is pretty decent. It is nothing extraordinary, but the fact that it created something like this is really nice to see. If you like this video and would love to support the channel, you can consider donating to my channel through the super thanks option below. Or you can consider joining our private Discord, where you can access multiple subscriptions to different AI tools for free on a monthly basis, plus daily AI news and exclusive content, plus a lot more. But that's about it, guys, for today's